The most effective way to manage the challenges that we have faced has been having the team co-located basically with the construction contractor. We're still pulling in team members on the site so that on a daily basis we're interacting with the construction contractor, working through the RFIs or requests for information, where then when the construction contractor runs into a concern or problem with the construction, they write an RFI, and then we immediately put a team on it. And some of the ways we've helped control and make sure we're getting answers as quickly as possible is we've set metrics up to where we say we have to answer those within 5 days and get the answer back to the contractor to avoid holding them up. Again, we have daily meetings with the contractor to ensure we're integrating. But part of it has been the brute force methods I spoke of, where we are in the field and it's real-time modifications in the field to deal with the problems. Brute force integration is the way, I will call it brute force in the sense that it's real-time, it's looking at the problem as you're looking, it's not looking at it in a CAD model, it's not looking at it on drawings, it's looking at it in the field with the problem in your face. And then you're saying, okay, what kind of decisions do we need to make sure the work can continue? Because of the amount of issues we've had with interferences on the mobile launcher, we cannot afford to stand down for every given problem that we encounter. So brute force integration, in my language, is real time, make it work, and keep moving. So from an engineering management standpoint, what a lot of the change traffic, we've had a rather large amount of changes that have come through on the construction contract. So trying to manage all those interferences, all those problems, and still have a project that's going to be complete in a timely manner has caused a lot of, it's very tough. What I would suggest and say is that it's important, if you get into a project that has a significant amount of change traffic and like most NASA projects has a tight schedule, it's important to have, I will say, out-of-the-box procurement methods that you can fall back on. For instance, in our case, we've had to use the undefinitized contract actions, or UCA, process to help keep work moving, which allows us to get it on contract while we're definitizing the actual change, and that's been very helpful to us to keep the project moving in a somewhat timely fashion. I would say also other challenges have included, the mobile launcher was originally built for Constellation, which was a single stick rocket. So the decisions were made to take the mobile launcher, modify it for the SLS program. So what that meant was the original structure was built for Constellation. We had to modify the flame hull for the vehicle to include the core stage engines as well as 2 boosters now. And that was a second project that modified and added basically 1,000 tons of steel. We took out 750 tons and added 1,000 tons. So it was a major modification. And now the third project we're on right now is the GSE installation. So the challenges that you face in modifying an existing structure are things like you run into, the existing structure is there, and ultimately you may have to go down to the bare structure, bare metal to make changes. So I really think it's important for teams to fully vet the, do I build new or do I modify existing? Because modifying existing may seem on the surface like an easy thing, quicker thing to do, but ultimately it poses challenges that you probably will not see until you're well into the project. Out-of-the-box procurement would be, we've run into a lot of change traffic, and we're trying to get, we can't hold up the project very long for any major, either a contract we're adding a design or we're changing, we have a design change. So it's called a undefinitized contract action, a UCA, UCA. And I know in general it's not something you want to fall back on, but in the instance of the mobile launcher, it has been very helpful for us due to the amount of change traffic to get work pushing ahead and on contract while we're definitizing the actual change. Other things that have challenged our team has been the idea of we are basically designing and constructing, or actually we designed and constructed, kind of in parallel in many cases for some of our design packages. But in addition to that, testing at the launch equipment test facility for the umbilicals has, that's been going on as we're building. So any changes, which we have experienced some change as a result of testing cases where some emergency stop loads that they weren't expecting showed up during the testing, and what that did, that translated back to the mobile launcher. We had to go look at it. Do we have a similar concern that they faced? And we did. And what that has driven is late changes to a significant piece of structure of the mobile launcher. So what I would say is the challenges of designing in parallel with construction, in parallel with subsystem testing, poses issues that could very significantly affect your cost and schedule.